Above the twin suns, the orbital research station stood as a testament to interstellar unity. Its corridors buzzed with scientists and diplomats from countless worlds, all striving for knowledge and peace. Yet, beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Advanced experiments pushed ethical boundaries, and political neutrality was a fragile illusion. The station's very existence was a beacon of hope and a potential flashpoint for intergalactic conflict. Elijah Voss was a man haunted by his past. Once a brilliant xenogeneticist, he now lived in seclusion, his days consumed by research and his nights by memories of war. The faces of those he couldn't save lingered in his mind, a constant reminder of his failures. Yet, amidst the pain, his dedication to science remained unshaken. He sought redemption not through words, but through breakthroughs that could heal rather than harm. Serelijah, a luminous being of the Kailari, lay in a state of decline. Her species, known for their telepathic abilities and intricate neural structures, had no cure for her ailment. Traditional medicine failed, and their empathic healers could only ease her pain. As her light dimmed, the urgency to find a solution grew. The Kailari, proud and peaceful, faced the potential loss of one of their brightest minds. The unified Concord, desperate to save Serelijah, proposed an unprecedented solution: integrating foreign DNA into her genome. The idea was met with controversy. Some saw it as a beacon of hope, others as a dangerous overreach. Debates raged in council chambers, but time was running out. The procedure, if successful, could redefine interspecies medicine or lead to unforeseen consequences. Self-publishing school, over 1,000 potential donors were tested from various species across the galaxy. Each attempt ended in failure, the genetic markers incompatible. Hope waned as Serelijah's condition worsened. The research team, once optimistic, now faced the grim reality of impending loss. The window for intervention was closing rapidly. In a final, desperate measure, Elijah offered his own DNA. To everyone's astonishment, it was a perfect match. The compatibility defied scientific understanding, suggesting a deeper connection between humans and Kailari. The revelation sparked both excitement and suspicion. Was this a miracle or a hidden threat? The implications were vast, challenging, established beliefs about genetics and evolution. Elijah stood at a crossroads. Haunted by past decisions that led to suffering, he now had a chance to make amends. Donating his DNA could save Serelijah, but at what cost? The weight of responsibility pressed heavily upon him. In the end, he chose to proceed, not for glory, but as an act of redemption, hoping to bring light where once there was only darkness. The chamber hummed with quiet power, a cathedral of sterile precision. Tiny nanobots, engineered beyond earthly comprehension, were poised to flood Serelijah's bloodstream. Each microscopic agent was a spark of hope, a calculated promise of healing. The team held their breath as the first wave deployed, swirling through veins like silver fire. Time seemed to slow, a fragile balance between life and death tightening its grip. Outside the window, deep space stretched infinitely, indifferent to the drama unfolding within this orbiting laboratory. The sterile lights cast sharp shadows on faces etched with determination and fear. Elijah watched the monitors, each nanobot's path illuminated by soft pulses of blue light. The melding of human ingenuity and alien biology was unprecedented, an act of creation forged in desperation. Every heartbeat was a question. Would the ancient Kailari genome accept this alien code, or would it reject and obliterate the fragile hybrid? The room vibrated with silent tension, the air thick with unspoken prayers. Somewhere in the depths of Serelijah's body, a revolution was beginning, one that might redefine evolution itself. Instead of stabilizing, Elijah's DNA began an unexpected dance. The nanobots carried fragments of human code, but rather than merely patching Serelijah's failing genes, the Kailari genome responded as if awakened. The monitors flared with chaotic activity, data streams surging beyond projected parameters. Algorithms designed to track genetic stability scrambled to catch up as cells reshaped themselves with a strange living intelligence. Scientists exchanged uneasy glances, the thrill of discovery tangled with creeping dread. This was no simple fusion. It was a biological metamorphosis. A new life form began emerging from the crucible of hybrid DNA, an organism neither wholly Kailari nor human. As the transformation accelerated, Serelijah's vital signs dipped sharply. Her body slipped into a coma-like state, a liminal threshold between destruction and rebirth. Elijah's mind raced, torn between exhilaration and terror. Was this evolution or something else? The data hinted at emergent properties, neural pathways forming bridges across species barriers. But what was the cost? The alien genome pulsed with unfamiliar rhythms, reshaping not just DNA, but identity itself. The research team faced a profound dilemma. To halt the experiment would condemn Serelijah to death. To continue risked unleashing an unknown entity, one that could challenge the very nature of life as they knew it. The alarm rippled swiftly through the unified Concord's council chambers. Alien delegates, their faces stern and inscrutable, voiced sharp objections. The conservative Veltar and Zorith factions denounced the genetic experiment as a blatant violation of interspecies bioethics. To tamper with the Kailari genome was to court disaster, a reckless act threatening the fragile peace maintained across star systems. Diplomatic language masked the undercurrent of panic. Whispers of contamination and genetic impurity spread like wildfire. Was this hybridization a harbinger of new life, or a dangerous corruption of natural order? The call for a tribunal echoed across corridors of power, demanding immediate intervention. Within the research station, tension thickened. Elijah faced growing isolation, his motives questioned, his ethics challenged. Allies faltered under pressure, and suspicion became a wedge between species. The experiment that once united them now threatened to fracture the fragile alliance. The question loomed large. Could the Concord afford to gamble on such radical science? Or was this the first step toward irreversible chaos? Memories clawed at Elijah with relentless force. In the quiet moments between crises, the ghosts of his past surfaced, visions of a war long ended, but never truly left behind. He saw the faces of Kailari civilians caught in the crossfire, victims of a biological weapon he had once authorized, a weapon meant to disable enemy forces, but one that had spilled death indiscriminately. The weight of guilt was suffocating. Every breakthrough felt tinged with shadow. Could he atone for the lives lost through science turned deadly? Would saving Serelijah be his redemption or his undoing? These buried sins shaped his resolve. He wasn't just fighting for Serelijah's survival, but for a chance to rewrite his own fractured legacy. As the genetic fusion pushed forward, Elijah grappled with the thin line between creation and destruction, salvation and damnation. In this crucible of science and conscience, the past was never truly behind him. It whispered in every decision, fueling his determination and torment in equal measure. Elijah's voice rose above the mounting chorus of doubt. He refused to let the procedure be stopped. Not now, not when hope still flickered in the shadows. To him, Serelijah's transformation was not contamination, but a new form of symbiosis, a bridge between two species, born of necessity and daring. The opposition was fierce. Scientists feared the unknown consequences. Diplomats feared political fallout. Threats and isolation became Elijah's new reality. Yet his conviction never wavered. He believed in the resilience of life and the boundless potential of human ingenuity. Let her live, he implored. Let her change. If we kill this chance, we kill the future. His words echoed through sterile halls, challenging old doctrines and prejudices. This was more than science. It was a battle for what it meant to be alive. Elijah stood alone, a defiant sentinel at the edge of evolution, determined to see the unknown through, whatever it might bring. The fate of Serelijah, and perhaps of all hybrid life, rested on his unwavering stand. While Serelijah lay dormant, the quantum neural field of her species stirred. The Kailari's empathic resonance system, a bioluminescent web of shared consciousness, flickered in response to the alien DNA threading through her cells. Elders observed with awe and fear as patterns emerged, unfamiliar and unsettling. This neural network was not merely a biological function, but a living soul, ancient and vast. Its light pulsed unpredictably, as if awakening from a deep slumber. Some sensed an ancient force stirring, something beyond comprehension, bridging past and future in a delicate dance. The resonance hinted at profound transformation, a melding not only of flesh and gene, but of minds and memories. Could this be the genesis of a new collective consciousness, or the birth of a power too great to control? As the Kailari elders debated the meaning of this awakening, the unseen threads of empathy and identity began to weave a new narrative, one that would redefine the essence of life itself. In the hush that followed the storm of transformation, Elijah gazed upon Serelijah's still form. The monitors steadied, her vitals stable but altered. Brainwaves pulsed at frequencies never recorded before, oscillating in patterns that suggested neither death nor simple healing. Was she evolving? Mutating into something entirely new, a bridge between species, a living nexus of hybrid consciousness. The possibilities both thrilled and terrified him. This new entity might embody humanity's greatest triumph or its most profound danger. Could it herald a future where boundaries between species blurred, creating alliances unthinkable before? Or was this an unknown weapon, forged in the crucible of desperation? The silence was heavy with questions, a pause pregnant with potential. Elijah's mind raced, balancing hope with fear. In this quiet, beneath the surface of science and ethics, something new was being born, and the universe waited, breathless, for what would come next. Serelijah's eyes fluttered open, a storm of calm and fire raging within their depths. Her vitals, steady as a mountain's pulse, belied the seismic shift within her mind. The steady rhythm of her breath mingled with an erratic pulse. Human and Kailari, two worlds tangled inside one body. Neural scans revealed an impossible hybrid pattern, a dance of alien quantum waves and human electrical impulses. Fragmented memories flickered like ghosts. Elijah's face, a distant battlefield, laughter lost in time. The sterile hum of the medical array was drowned beneath the symphony of her awakening consciousness. It was no longer just Kailari inside. It was something new, something unknown. A flicker of confusion blended with fierce determination. Her mind probed the void where memories mingled, where Elijah's legacy, encoded in her very DNA, clashed with the Kailari's ancient essence. This was not just evolution, but revolution, a bridge spanning species and souls. Her body twitched, as if awakening from a long, restless slumber, but her mind surged forward, burning with questions that no one had answers for yet. Who was she now? A child of two worlds or a weapon forged in desperation? The unknown stretched before her like an abyss, dark, terrifying, yet filled with impossible promise. She was a herald of what humanity and alien life could become, a living testament to ingenuity and adaptation in the face of cosmic uncertainty. Serelijah's expressions began to mimic Elijah's, an uncanny mirror to a man she barely knew. The tilt of her head, the subtle narrowing of eyes, even the cadence of her speech patterns shifted. "Shadow Father," she whispered, a name that shattered the fragile barrier between biology and identity. Was this genetic memory surfacing, remnants of Elijah's mind encoded deep within her cells? Or was it something darker, a soul bleeding across the chasms of existence? Elijah felt the weight of the name like a blade. It carried reverence, accusation, and a haunting familiarity all at once. Her voice, soft yet resolute, tore through his carefully built defenses. Trust wavered between them. Was she a reflection or a spectre? Questions gnawed at the edges of their fragile alliance. This was no simple inheritance. It was an echo that threatened to unravel the fragile fabric of their reality. The line between self and other blurred, and with it, the dangers of losing oneself in borrowed memories became painfully clear. Voices erupted like storms in the grand chamber of the unified Concord. The Kailari High Matriarch's voice rang, cold and unwavering. Containment was necessary. She is spiritual corruption, the matriarch declared, eyes burning with ancestral fire. The Kailari feared not just a hybrid child, but a fracture in their sacred biological lineage, a taint threatening to unravel centuries of quantum empathy and cultural purity. Earth's delegate countered fiercely, advocating for research, for understanding. She is not a threat, but a marvel of adaptability, they argued. Factions formed and fractured, suspicion rising faster than reason. Fear took root in hearts and minds, a cancer spreading through diplomatic corridors. Was Serelijah a child, to be nurtured, or a weapon to be wielded? The debate tore at the fabric of the Concord, a microcosm of a galaxy struggling to balance hope and dread. Whispers of sabotage, betrayal, and ulterior motives filled the air. The ethical dilemmas rippled outward. Could they contain something born from both worlds without condemning it? Was survival worth sacrifice? The Council's fractures threatened to become fractures of civilization itself, as fear clashed with curiosity in a battle older than stars. The Kailari's ancient code was etched deep within their collective soul. Biological purity was sacred. Quantum empathy was the invisible thread that bound them. Serelijah's hybrid nature unraveled these foundations, a living paradox that defied centuries of tradition. The elders questioned, was she still Kailari, or had she become a ghost of what once was? The question was more than identity, it was survival. To reject her was to reject change itself. To accept her was to rewrite the laws that governed their existence. The elders debated, their minds torn between reverence and fear. Could they embrace a future where bloodlines blurred, or would they cling desperately to a past fading like dust in the solar winds? Elijah's mind wrestled with ghosts, his role in creating Serelijah, a synthesis born of war and desperation. Guilt wrapped around him like a shroud, memories of loss and failure heavy in his chest. Yet beneath the ash of regret stirred a fragile ember, hope. Serelijah's resilience was a beacon, a living testament to second chances. He began to see her not as a mistake, but a miracle forged in the crucible of conflict. Her mind, a battlefield and sanctuary, carried the promise of redemption, not just for him, but for humanity. His doubts persisted, but alongside them grew a fierce determination to protect what she had become. The future was uncertain, but the past no longer held him prisoner. Yeltar entered the fractured alliance with the weight of war etched into his features. A Drakari diplomat, hardened by loss. His presence stirred unease and grudging respect. Nora Lynn, Earth's strategist and Elijah's ex-wife, was a tempest of hardline pragmatism, her sharp words cutting through fragile allegiances. Tensions flared as ancient grudges collided with present needs. Amid this volatile mix, Serelijah's broken biological mother muttered cryptic Kailari phrases, whispers of forgotten truths and ancient prophecies. Her fragmented mind offered clues that both illuminated and obscured the path forward. Trust was scarce, every alliance balanced on the edge of betrayal. The divide between friend and foe blurred, and the woman who knew too much became a key to the future, or a harbinger of doom. A radical faction of Kailari moved with ruthless precision, declaring Serelijah a spiritual abomination. Their raid was swift and merciless. She was taken under cold stars, a prize and a curse wrapped in one fragile body. The station sealed tight, a prison forged from fear and fanaticism. The conflict transcended politics and culture. It became painfully personal. Lines were drawn not just across space, but through hearts and histories. The battle for Serelijah was a war for identity itself, where bloodlines became battlegrounds and survival demanded impossible choices. The station echoed with the silent, screams of a future hanging by a thread. Elijah, Yeltar, and Nora formed an uneasy coalition, bound not by friendship but necessity. Each carried scars, old grudges that threatened to fracture their fragile alliance at any moment. Their mission was clear: infiltrate Kailari territory and retrieve Serelijah before silence swallowed her forever. Advanced tech hummed beneath their fingers: adaptive stealth fields, neural disruptors, and kinetic armor woven with alien alloys. Yet no technology could mask the tangled web of suspicion that clung to them. Yeltar's war-honed instincts clashed with Nora's cold calculus, while Elijah wrestled with the ghosts of the past. Every step forward was a gamble, every shadow a potential threat. As they breached the perimeter, the station's defenses awakened, a mechanized sentinel, born of paranoia. The air thrummed with tension, friend and foe indistinguishable in the dim glow. Inside, Serelijah waited, a symbol of hope and fear intertwined. Her eyes met Elijah's, fierce, defiant, yet pleading. The rescue was no longer just about survival. It was a test of trust, a crucible where humanity's ingenuity and resilience would be measured against the abyss. With every heartbeat, the stakes grew higher. Would they emerge united or be consumed by the shadows of betrayal? The unknown awaited, and humanity would face it head-on. Elijah, Yeltar, and Nora approached the crystalline moon cloaked in ancient Kailari edicts, a place whispered of with fear and reverence across star systems. The atmosphere pulsed faintly with psychic residue, shimmering like a veil of broken glass caught in light. Beneath their boots, alien runes etched deep into the moon's surface glowed softly, rhythmic and alive, an archaic heartbeat locked in stone. This was no mere ruin. It was a tomb for evolution itself, sealed by those who feared change. The team's tension was palpable, a fragile truce hanging between them. Elijah's human adaptability and grit contrasted starkly with Yeltar's war-hardened Drakari calm and Nora's steely, calculating resolve. Each step forward was heavy with unspoken questions. Could this forgotten relic hold the answers to Serelijah's strange transformation? Or was it a trap laid by a past that refused to die? The air thrummed with unearthly power, pressing on their minds. Psychic echoes flickered through their thoughts. Memories, not their own. Emotions, half-remembered and alien. Nora broke the silence, voice low. The Kailari believed this place was the cradle of their purity, but what if it's a prison instead? Elijah's gaze hardened, sensing both opportunity and peril. The ruins whispered promises of forgotten knowledge and threatened extinction alike. Here, the line between salvation and doom was as fragile as the glimmering runes beneath their feet. They had come to unlock a secret older than stars themselves. But in this place, revelation was a blade that cut both ways. The extremist Kailari gathered, their intentions as cold and unyielding as the stone chamber that enclosed them. Serelijah stood at the center, a hybrid caught between worlds, her pulse quickening under their gaze. The chamber's technology thrummed with ominous life designed to purge every trace of foreign essence. This was the crucible of purity, a ritual older than recorded time, meant to cleanse and preserve, not to evolve. Silent chants rose like a suffocating fog, the air thick with finality. To the Kailari, Serelijah was an abomination, a threat to their sacred lineage. To her, it was a death sentence veiled as salvation. Her mind churned with terror and defiance. Was this a chance to purify her soul, or to erase everything that made her unique? The ancient machines began their work, humming a cold promise of oblivion. Yet beneath that mechanical precision, a question burned. Could the crucible truly separate what was Kailari from what was human, or would it fracture more than bodies, shattering identities, histories, and hope? Serelijah's mind stretched out, fragile threads weaving into the neural lattice embedded in the ruins. The crystalline spires responded like living beings, flaring with light and sound that danced at the edge of comprehension. Screens of prismatic data erupted around her, their glow pulsing in time with her heartbeat. This was the first time the ruin had accepted an outsider, especially one like her, forged of two worlds. Her thoughts merged with ancient circuits, memories of Kailari ancestors flickering alongside her human experiences. The machine whispered, secrets long buried, genetic blueprints, cosmic histories, forbidden knowledge. It was awakening something dormant, not just in the ruin, but in herself. A surge of clarity struck. This wasn't merely technology, it was consciousness, an ancient mind intertwined with the fate of a species. The ruins sought evolution, not stagnation. And in Serelijah's hybrid mind, it found a spark. The unpredictable chaos of humanity, woven with the precision of Kailari biology. Emotion overwhelmed her. Wonder, fear, hope. The power was intoxicating, but fragile. Her connection deepened, revealing visions of galaxies shaped by this forgotten intelligence, shaped by choices no one alive had dared to make. She was no longer just a survivor. She was the key to a new beginning, or the catalyst for a devastating collapse. In the swirling depths of her trance, Serelijah glimpsed the cruel design of the Kailari's past. A godlike precursor race had shackled their evolution, genetically stunting them to prevent dangerous leaps forward. Their brilliance had been bound, their potential crushed beneath the weight of cosmic control. Humanity, with all its chaotic flaws and restless adaptability, was the missing element. An unpredictable force of change the precursors never accounted for. It was both salvation and infection, a paradox born of imperfection and resilience. Serelijah's vision fractured between hope and dread. Could humanity's chaotic gift awaken the Kailari, freeing them from millennia of stagnation? Or would it poison their legacy, unraveling the delicate balance between species and soul? This revelation shattered old beliefs. The broken gene was not weakness, but evolution's hidden edge, a wild card that could rewrite the fate of entire civilizations. The team fractured beneath the weight of the vision. Some saw humanity as the spark needed to ignite galactic growth, a necessary catalyst in the universe's cold, slow dance. Others recoiled, fearing the uncontrollable chaos it brought, the risk of corruption and destruction. The ruins held them in silent judgment, its ancient light flickering over their divided faces. No verdict came from this courtroom of echoes, only questions more profound than answers. Nora's voice cut through the tension. Are we saviors bringing change, or harbingers of doom? Elijah wrestled with his own guilt and hope, torn between protecting his kind and understanding what must evolve. Yeltar's steady gaze held suspicion, but beneath it, reluctant admiration. In this crucible of judgment, alliances faltered and reformed, trust strained to breaking. The question lingered. Could they embrace the unknown without losing themselves, or would fear doom them all? As the ruined systems began to overload, time slipped away like sand through clenched fists. Elijah made a choice, one born of desperation and hope. He linked his consciousness fully with Serelijah's, pouring memories and emotions into the hybrid mind. His darkest secrets surfaced. War crimes, regrets, and the unspoken love that tethered them. His body faltered, seized by the strain of sharing his essence. Flesh weakened as mind transcended, a sacrifice carved in agony and resolve. Through this vulnerability, Serelijah found clarity, not just in his memories, but in the man behind the warrior's mask. The fusion sparked a revelation. The past was not a chain, but a foundation. His pain, his failures, were the crucible that tempered her strength. Through his sacrifice, she inherited not only knowledge but the weight of choice. The ruin responded, its heart pulsing with the unity of their souls. It had sought perfection, but found humanity, flawed, fierce, and unyielding. In their union, the future flickered, fragile, but alive. Serelijah emerged from the fusion transformed, no longer divided by her halves, but whole in her duality. She named herself Serelijah, a new identity forged from human tenacity and Kailari precision. This was no rejection of heritage, but a bold claim of self. The crucible shattered not by force, but by the power of choice and identity. She embraced the paradox, neither fully human nor Kailari, but transcending both. This declaration rippled through the team, a beacon of hope and defiance. Serelijah was not an aberration, but evolution embodied, a living testament to the strength found in unity beyond bloodlines. Her choice echoed a new era, where survival was not about purity, but about the courage to be different. The ancient structure groaned, ancient defenses awakening as the delicate balance shattered. Serelijah moved with instinct and empathy, manipulating Kailari quantum resonance and human tactical brilliance in tandem. The ruin became a living entity fighting for its own survival. She led the evacuation, a beacon in chaos, weaving through collapsing crystal spires and flaring neural networks. Each step was a dance between destruction and salvation. The team rallied under her command. Trust forged anew in the crucible of shared peril. The ruin's collapse was not an end, but a rebirth. Her victory, a symbol of adaptability and unity. They escaped into the uncertain void beyond. Serelijah's presence was a promise. The future belonged to those who dared to evolve. The extremists were captured, their fanatical warnings echoing in diplomatic chambers far from the shattered moon. Hybridization is colonization of the soul, they proclaimed, voices heavy with fear. But the universe was no longer certain. Eyes watched from distant stars, divided but awakened. Serelijah's existence challenged every assumption. What it meant to be human, alien, or something beyond. The dust settled, but the shadow of change loomed. The battle was won, but the war for identity had just begun. The Concord's great chamber hung heavy with the tension of countless eyes and ancient grievances. Floating banners from 100 disparate worlds shimmered in the gravity-null air, each symbol a testament to histories tangled with suspicion and hope. At the heart of this assembly stood Serelijah, the embodiment of an impossible union, human and Kailari, flesh and code, chaos and order. Her existence defied every law and expectation etched into interstellar treaties. Debates roared like storms, voices demanding clarity on what she was, what she could be. Some feared contamination, others saw salvation. The final tally echoed through the chamber, a fragile victory. Serelijah was granted the unprecedented status of bridge entity. Neither wholly human nor Kailari, she became a living nexus, an ambassador to the unknown, legally unbound by species or borders. This new designation was more than legal jargon. It was a beacon of adaptability and acceptance in a galaxy crippled by fear of difference. For the first time, a hybrid soul was given asylum not as an outcast, but as a harbinger of unity. The chamber's silence held the weight of transformation, the birth of a new era, fragile yet irrevocable. The galactic channels erupted with voices of wonder and wrath. Serelijah's recognition sparked tidal waves of reaction. Some hailed her as a miracle, proof that evolution could rise from divergence, that unity could spring from fractured roots. Others labeled her an abomination, a mistake threatening the fragile order. Protests ignited across Kailari colonies, flames of fear licking at the edges of their ancient cities. Human factions, too, clamored for control, each seeing her as a prize or a threat. The hybrid question became a mirror, reflecting every civilization's deepest hopes and darkest anxieties. Would she be the bridge that healed, or the fracture that shattered? Across the stars, trust twisted into suspicion, and awe turned to terror. The galaxy trembled, caught between celebration and conflict, poised on the edge of irreversible change. Serelijah faced judgment not with defiance but with quiet acceptance. Though cleared of wrongdoing, Earth's rulers barred him from returning, his exile unspoken punishment for embracing the hybrid future. The silence of his departure was more profound than chains. On a distant Concord orbital station, he became a teacher of ethics in hybrid coexistence, a mentor forged in the fires of regret and resilience. His lectures wove wisdom from his past mistakes and victories, threading pain, guilt, and love into every word. Students, both human and alien, listened as he challenged their assumptions, ignited their empathy. He carried exile like a shadow, but within it burned a quiet dignity. Elijah's punishment was freedom twisted, a life severed from home, yet bound to hope. His sacrifice carved the path for others to follow, a testament to humanity's ability to endure beyond condemnation. Serelijah transformed into Serelijah, her identity evolving beyond the sum of her parts. Alone with questions that stretched beyond law and biology, she wrestled with the meaning of becoming. What space existed between blood and code, between human fragility and Kailari precision? Her mind expanded rapidly, a torrent absorbing literature, history, philosophy, human dreams and alien logic intertwining in endless spirals. She spoke in riddles and dreamed in equations, her thoughts leaping between poetry and algorithms. Her existence challenged definitions, each insight a step into uncharted territory. Struggling to claim ownership of herself, Serelijah became both scholar and enigma, a living paradox. The question remained, what was she allowed to become? As her consciousness bloomed, she embodied the tension between heritage and destiny, the uncertainty of a future yet unwritten. In the quiet sanctuary of the orbital gardens, Elijah and Serelijah walked beneath alien blossoms that glowed faintly in the twilight. Their bond shimmered like starlight filtered through crystal, fragile yet eternal. She still called him Shadow Father, a name heavy with history and affection. He called her Hope, a simple word that carried the weight of galaxies. Between them lay understanding, forged in fire and tempered by loss. Their connection was a rare bridge between worlds, a testament that even in divergence, family could be forged anew. Kailari society cracked under the pressure of change. Religious zealots declared Serelijah a prophesied messenger, a herald of transformation. Others condemned her as a blasphemy against ancient traditions. Trade routes, once lifelines, shuttered as fear spread. Internal skirmishes erupted, quiet at first, then roiling like wildfire. The old empire trembled, its foundations shaken by the weight of evolution. The promise of unity twisted into a crucible of division, and the Kailari faced an uncertain future, torn between clinging to the past and embracing the chaos of progress. Beneath Earth's surface, secret labs buzzed with cold fluorescent light. Scientists manipulated hybrid genomes, speaking of research and advancement. Yet whispers of weaponization darkened the sterile halls. What began as salvation risked morphing into control. The delicate balance of hope and fear twisted anew, as humanity's reach stretched into the genetic fabric of stars. The hybrid became not just a symbol, but a tool, its promise shadowed by the creeping specter of exploitation. The seeds of a new struggle were sown, where trust would be tested, and the price of survival might demand the cost of the soul. Serelijah drifted through the infinite black, her form alone against the void's endless tapestry. No ship carried her, no crew whispered beside her, only the cold, glimmering silence and the pulse of distant stars. Each flicker was a memory older than any Kailari tale or human myth, ancient light tracing stories no one else could read. She listened beyond sound, beyond perception, tuning into the universe's quiet breath. Alone among the stars, She became a sentinel between worlds. Her hybrid mind open to secrets that neither species could grasp, suspended in a silent drift where loneliness was both curse and clarity. A signal, unlike any known to Concord or Kailari senses, cut through the dark expanse. Non-binary in frequency, untraceable by standard arrays, it reached only Serelijah's mind. It pulsed with a recognition impossible to ignore. This was no random transmission. It whispered her name without words, a presence waiting in the cosmic stillness. No alarms blared, no warnings flared, just a quiet acknowledgement, a call from something ancient and patient. The signal was a question wrapped in silence, bending time and space, holding its breath for the one hybrid soul who could hear beyond the veil. From the void emerged an obsidian probe, sleek and unreadable, adorned with fractal runes that shimmered like liquid shadows. It ignored every Concord frequency and defied sensor sweeps, drifting like a ghost beyond known space. When Serelijah extended her hybrid consciousness, the probe responded, not with sound or light, but a psychic bloom. It opened a window in her mind, unveiling constellations uncharted and thoughts that felt both alien and intimately familiar. This was no mere artifact. It was a vessel of something far older than the stars themselves, a silent envoy from a time or place beyond comprehension. The probe spoke without words, weaving emotion and memory into a fragile thread that crossed dimensions. Its voice was a whisper echoing through the corridors of existence. You are the first, but not the last. No origin, no destination accompanied the message, only a profound truth. Serelijah was the key, a genesis beyond biology or code, a rebirth of consciousness destined to awaken something vast and ineffable. The weight of this knowledge pressed on her soul, an invitation and a warning. She was no longer just hybrid. She was a herald of something timeless, standing at the edge of an unfolding enigma. As the obsidian probe slipped through a fold in space-time, leaving only ripples in its wake, Serelijah remained adrift with a singular certainty burning within her. Hybridity was no accident, no flaw. It was a signal carved into the fabric of existence, a question posed by the cosmos itself, a doorway between what was and what might be. Somewhere, in hidden folds of stars or fractured timelines, others, like her, stirred, awakening to the possibility of evolution or the threat of extinction. The universe held its breath, waiting for the answer she now carried in her core.